Okay, so here's my LX470. I got my Dissent front bumper on there, and it's got no winch now. Today, picked up the Badland Apex 12,000, and that's what we'll be installing. Alright, so just a quick unboxing here. Got like the manuals, guide to winching. I was looking through the PDF. This looks pretty interesting. Stickers. This looks like the remote wire, the fair lead, controller, and the hook. Beefy. There's the winch. Sweet. Very cool. So yeah, go ahead and get this thing installed. Okay, so I had to pull most of my bumper off, and I'm gonna have to undo the bolts of the front center section from the frames of the bumper, so that I can get the winch in there. There's just no way to get it from above or below. So yeah, if you are going to put a winch on your Dissent bumper, definitely do it the same time you install it. It'll be a lot easier, but this is no big deal. The way this bumper comes together is really simple. So yeah, so anyway, on the winch, I'm going to have to replace or pull this the control box or whatever it's called off and relocate it because it's just not tall enough to fit in the opening. Which is normal. That's what you got to do with the come up winch also. Alright, so I got the control box pulled off the top. It was really easy. The instructions are really good. I haven't hooked it up because I got to run all the wires past the radiator here and down to the winch. There's not really a good spot to put the control box. I'm thinking maybe here behind the passenger side headlight, or possibly in this area there next to the power steering fluid. Yeah, there's not really any other good spot, and this thing's pretty big. It's possible I might be able to fit it in the wing or something. So I'm gonna, once I get the winch mounted, I'm gonna explore my options with where I'm gonna put that. So the cool thing about the Dissent bumper is it has these little ridges built in the center panel that slip over the top of the center braces, and so it can just sit there without me having to hold it or anything. So now what I'm going to do is try to set the winch down from the top. Before I go any further on putting this back together, I'm going to put my lights, hook all my lights back up. I disconnected some, and then the lights I have on the wings, I'm going to put on a connector. So in the future, I don't have to cut the wires. So I'm going to do that now. It'll be boring. I just installed this fair lead on here. You want to do that before you bolt everything in for good, because as you can see, it's really tight. between where the winch goes and the bolts, and then also on the Dissent bumpers gives you slots so you can shift it forward and backwards, which is nice. So yeah, just get that fair lead on there first. Okay, so I got my lights all wired back up. I got my fair lead on, so I'm going to tighten down the winch itself. Okay, so now the bumper's mounted, the winch is in there. This isn't going to be the easiest to get to, but I mean, it is doable. So these are the wires that come up, and they only reach about here, right behind the passenger headlight. So I'm going to see if I can fit the control box in there. I have it mounted to this frame plate mount thing that was included with the winch. So maybe I can use that in some way. Maybe I'll bend these, or in some other way try to fit that down here. So anyway, I don't think I'll film that because probably can't see what I'm doing anyway, but I'll show you the results. Okay, so there's the control box. I have it mounted right here. I ended up having, at first I tried to cut the housing down a little bit to get it to fit back behind the headlight, but it was just not going to happen. This thing's just way too bulky. But you can see the guts inside of it are way smaller. So yeah, most of it's waterproof. Those connections are exposed, but it doesn't really matter. Those black boxes are totally waterproof. But I'm going to tie up those wires there, make it look nice. But basically I relocated the switch and then the remote connector. There I drilled a hole, and then here I cut out, I cut a slot to fit the switch in there. So that's just right there above the winch now. And just mounted some pieces here I cut off from the stock mount, and then used some scrap aluminum there, and I had to move my horns a little bit to get everything to fit, but yeah, I think that'll be okay. It does block a little bit of airflow to the radiator, but I mean, there's so much airflow anyway, it's no big deal. And then also it's right here in front of the air conditioning fan, so presumably when it's hot I'll have the air conditioning on, which will pull air over the controller there and hopefully keep it cool. And I put the on-off switch here, just on a little piece of aluminum down there, a little bracket. So let's give it a shot here. And then of course it's hooked directly to my battery. So you hold this for 3 seconds, the wireless light comes on. Oh, I gotta turn it on. Okay, yeah. So there you go. Working just as advertised. Sweet. it's got the little magnet on there, which is cool. You can kind of like set it down and stick it to, you know, in the engine bay when you're not winching or you need to use your hands or something. You can just stick it there. So it's cool. All in all, you know, very simple to install. Need a little bit of finagling here to get the control box in there on the LX470 here. Obviously, if you're going to mount the winch on top of a bumper and you have plenty of room on top for that to fit, but it just, this is kind of a really enclosed space here for the winch. So that's the Harbor Freight Badland Apex 1200 winch install on my 2007 LX470 or Toyota LandCruiser, and this is the Dissent off-road front bumper, and I'm stoked to use it. You know, hopefully won't get stuck or anything, but I'm going to be more confident now having a winch, especially in the snow. So if I'm ever up in the mountains or off-roading and I use this winch, you can guarantee that I'll show it here in action on the channel. Whether it's good or bad, the Harbor Freight products, their flagship set of products, are actually been getting really good reviews. That's why I decided to go for this Badland Apex winch. The Apex brand is their new flagship line of winches, and yeah, it's you know, got all this. It's waterproof. It's got the synthetic line that comes with the wireless control. That's just a bonus. The beefy hook and the Fairlead, you know, a bonus. Seems like it's pretty decent quality. So I'm excited to try this thing out. And yeah, go ahead and subscribe, and I'll be using this winch out there in the mountains. One thing that it says in here is before you start winching, they basically, you find somewhere to winch off of and spool out most of the rope, and then spool it back on by pulling the truck or vehicle up so that it's under tension. So yeah, I'll have to keep that in mind. Don't have any way to do that right now, but before I start winching, I'll want to be doing that. Alright, so in addition to my LX470 build and off-roading on my channel, you'll also find some other content, including my 96 Mazda Miata here, which is turbocharged and makes 326 horsepower. I've got autocross videos and dyno video on that here on the channel. And this is my 2005 Honda Civic hatchback, and it has a 200 horsepower engine with 6-speed swap, and dyno and autocrosses here on the channel. And then there I've got my 1989 spec Miata, and some of my very, very old original videos feature this car, but I haven't driven it in about 10 years, and I'm getting it back on the track. So go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, whatever, and you'll see more content on these cars. Thanks for watching.